Our final speaker this morning is Andre Swanston. Andre is the CEO and co-founder of Tru Optik. Andre recognized the coming trend and went for it. And now he is regarded as the entrepreneur that is making audience-based consumer reach across connected TV possible for advertisers. Tru Optik created the back-end technology to enable household addressable advertising across over-the-top OTT and CTV, and has become the de facto currency for audience segmentation, privacy compliance, and marketing attribution. Can you please join me in welcoming to stage Andre Swanston?
Morning. Thanks everybody for sticking around. I was hoping there'd still be some people here when I got ready to speak. So my name is Andre Swanston. We're going to talk a little bit about over-the-top and connected TV. So I think the first thing that's really important, because there's a lot of different definitions floating out there. Over-the-top, for all intents and purposes, is the consumption of long-form, professionally produced content over the internet. And that could happen on any internet-connected device, whether it's a smartphone, a tablet, a laptop, or kind of the big behemoth, a connected TV. Right? When we look at what the over-the-top ecosystem means in terms of kind of the addressable market, it's really diversified, right? So there's measurement and branded content, content licensing, ad revenue, subscription revenue to services like Netflix. One of the things that's really interesting to notice, everybody knows that the market is really expanding rapidly over the last few years, but ad revenue as of 2015 was really about the lowest vertical in terms of global revenue across connected TV and over the top. However, by 2020, and the pace that it's growing, it'll actually be the largest single source of revenue, surpassing subscription revenue. When we look at some of the drivers for why this is happening, if we look back at 2011, right, there was really only a handful of devices that you could stream over-the-top content, right? Now, there's over 30 different connected TV devices and platforms and smart TV manufacturers that can be reached in over 1 million homes individually in the United States. And in terms of the services, when you look back at 2011, most of over-the-top internet consumption of long-form content was actually download, not streaming. So it's people downloading movies and TV shows from iTunes more so than streaming on solutions like Netflix or the digital MVPDs. Now, every day there's a different OTT solution that is launched. And not only is it on-demand content, but you're seeing an increasing amount of live content, whether it's news or it's sporting events. And so when we looked at kind of the overall potential household reach, only 5 or 6 years ago, you were really talking about less than 22 million households in the United States. Now that number's almost 120 million homes have at least one connected TV device. And what that means is there's actually more homes in the United States that have a connected TV device or an OTT device in them than a cable set-top box. And so if we look at kind of this growth trend, right, one of the things they always say, the past is prologue. If we look at kind of the rise or the shift from desktop video to mobile video between 2010 and 2015, it's a very similar trend that we've seen from 2015 gearing up to 2020 in terms of the shift from set-top box and linear television to OTT and connected TV. And what's important, a couple things to take away from that. More than 50% of all television viewing time in the US will be across OTT by the year 2020. And it'll account for about 27% of all television ad revenue. So it's really a tremendous opportunity. When we talk about OTT, so again, it can be any device that is connected to the internet to stream long-form professionally produced content. If we looked back 5 or 6 years ago, the bulk of that happened on a desktop or a laptop, right? Then mobile was second, and connected TV was last. Now, as of 2017, almost 3/4 of all online streaming of professionally produced content happens on a connected TV device, and that's continuing to rise. Mobile, and we're not talking about clips on YouTube here when we talk about OTT, mobile in terms of long-form professionally produced content over the last year has been pretty much flat, and desktop is in rapid decline for the last 3 years straight in terms of its percentage. Now, what's really intriguing about this is we know that the entire ecosystem, when it comes to things like measurement, segmentation, attribution, privacy controls across desktop has been powered forever by cookies. And then over the last 5 or 6 years in particular, the industry has done a great job in terms of using device IDs across mobile to do the same thing. The problem with connected TV, and again, connected TV here, we mean smart TVs, connected devices like a Roku or an Apple TV, or gaming consoles like an Xbox or PlayStation. In connected TV, there are no cookies, all right? There's actionable device IDs on less than 15% of the connected TV ecosystem. And so historically, over the last couple of years, as all this audience has been shifting to connected TV, this has really been a big problem for the industry to handle things, right? Because you have 9% there, 19% here, and then the overwhelming majority of the long-form professionally produced content, people couldn't measure, they couldn't segment, they couldn't do attribution. It was somewhat the Wild Wild West. And then recently, what we've seen is companies, whether it's Tru Optik, it's LiveRamp, it's Experian, it's Newstar, a lot of great companies in the industry that have been working on things called household graph, and very different from a device graph that look at kind of probabilistically, is this cookie and this device ID most likely the same person. What household graphs look at is they try to look at the overall makeup of a household. What connected TV devices are there? What is the IP address? What cookies are there? What device IDs are there? And how can we associate all these different devices as being domiciled together? And what this allows you to do is do things like household level reach and frequency on campaigns, be able to use data that you have from the different devices and tie them back into a television, doing cross-device attribution. And so this kind of shift to people-based advertising across connected TV, leveraging a household graph, has been something really driving the industry forward. So whereas everybody talks about the potential of connected TV, but for the most part, the industry for the last few years has been relying mostly on context, maybe sometimes location, and really modeling off of linear or digital data to drive connected TV strategies. Now what's exciting is the same type of strategy that you can use in addressable set-top box or desktop and mobile video in terms of third-party data sources or first-party data can be actionable across connected TV. And so when we look at kind of that's the first step, right? So the ability to target, and that's where we are now in connected TV. The second part is attribution. So not just online attribution, looking at, hey, you saw an ad on connected TV and then you came to a website and had a transaction, but also looking at things like, did you go to a location? Did you make a purchase in a brick and mortar? And there are also some really exciting things that over the last year have developed in the industry, whether it's companies like Experian being able to tie back to PII or CRM data from big box retail stores, TiVo being able to look at things from linear television and OTT to get an idea for cross-screen tune-in attribution, Kantar and Shopcom, and having shopper loyalty card data from big retail stores and pharmaceutical stores. Ninth Decimal doing things like location. So you saw an ad on connected TV for Toys R Us. Did you actually go to a Toys R Us over the next 30 days? And so those are pretty exciting. And then the last thing relative to kind of that's a huge development over the last year is kind of cross-screen measurement. So now that you have things like household graphs and you have the ability to look across multiple screens, desktop, mobile, connected TV, linear, you can have ideas of what was the household reach and frequency across connected TV. What percentage of the audience was in target? Another big issue that has been discovered over the last year in terms of connected TV is, across digital video, typically people have looked at things like viewability. Well, viewability on connected TV is 100%. Completion rate across connected TV is over 98% because the ads aren't skippable. There's no bot traffic. But the challenge that we're seeing is a lot of publishers and TV networks are actually charging a premium for their connected TV inventory. So they may charge $20 for their desktop and mobile, $20 for CPM, but they'll charge $30 for connected TV. So another big challenge that the industry is now facing is validating what specific device advertising was seen on. That's kind of like the validation challenge of the future. And there's been a lot of advancement in that as well to make sure that people aren't paying a premium for a screen that they didn't reach. And then finally, you can do targeting on connected TV now. You can do attribution both online and offline. You can validate household reach and frequency and device delivery. One of the things that with companies like Videology and Experian and Scripps and others that we realized over the last year was there's all this advancement in audience-based advertising and measurement across connected TV, but there's no privacy and opt-out controls, right? Because there's no cookies, you can't opt out from a cookie. There's no device ID, so you can't opt out from a device ID. So how are we doing all this audience-based advertising to consumers on Rokus and Apple TVs and Xboxes, and we're not giving them any ability to do privacy and opt out? So a few dozen leading publishers and ad tech platforms and data companies, we got together over the last few months and we decided to launch a consumer-facing solution called optout.tv that'll go live in January. And for the first time, it'll give people the ability to opt out their household from interest-based and audience-based advertising across connected TV. And so my 8 minutes is up. Don't have to remember me at all, but if you can remember one thing from this presentation is that connected TV is the fastest growing opportunity to reach consumers, not just in the United States, but also increasingly in Western Europe and Asia and major Latin markets like Brazil. And anything that you can do across desktop and mobile and linear television is now possible across connected TV. Thank you.